What is going on, guys? So today is the day that I finally get to drive this thing and hopefully have no issues with this 2005 Saturn L300 with the nice 3.0 engine. These things are built for power and everything. We diagnosed before we worked on it. Customer said that it needs a new fuel pump, so they asked if I could possibly change out the fuel pump, which that means that you gotta drop the exhaust in order for you to drop the tank to be able to drag the tank out after you disconnect all the lines and replace the fuel pump, which is kind of tricky because you gotta have this vehicle lifted up high enough in order for you to get that done. We got that done, got the fuel pump replaced, tried to run this. I'm pretty sure someone saw the short that I posted about this vehicle, and once we had the battery charged up good enough for us to test everything out, the vehicle wouldn't even start. So we kept this thing, kept the battery on the charger. We took this little access valve here, or this bleeder valve, for the fuel rail to see if fuel is actually being fed in, and sure enough, it is flowing fuel. So we tried running some starter fluid to see if it's gonna, well, not that, we did that before the fuel pump, but we cleaned up everything, made sure everything was good, and I plugged up my computer to this 2005 Saturn, and come to find out, the crankshaft position sensor needed to be replaced. Now it's kind of tricky trying to find the crankshaft position sensor wire because it's up underneath this intake manifold here. So it was kind of tricky trying to find it, but it was easy to replace. So we were able to get the crankshaft position sensor out and pop the new one on, clear the codes, and the vehicle started right up. It started running smooth. No problems, no check engine light, no nothing. So everything was good. And then by the time I put it into drive and started driving the vehicle, check engine light immediately cut on. And I just got to the very first stop sign and the engine cut off. So I had to sit there and like every time I slowed down, let go of the gas, whatever the case may be, the engine would shut off, and then I lose power steering and somewhat of my braking power. So it was kind of fun trying to drive this thing around, trying to get it back in my shop. So I brought it back in. I didn't even make it into the shop. I made it into my driveway before I couldn't even go any further. Rashad, my buddy that was helping me out with repairing this vehicle, said, "You better not be telling me that this whole thing is messed up." And I'm like, "I don't know." So I finally crunk it up, got it up into the shop area. I plugged up my computer, and then it's throwing the crankshaft position sensor again, which I highly doubt is the crankshaft position sensor, but I think it just didn't want to clear out the crankshaft position sensor code. And also the mass airflow sensor. It was saying mass airflow sensor circuit high. That means that the mass airflow sensor is reading more air than it is what it's supposed to do. So that doesn't mean that the mass airflow sensor is bad. So when I took the mass airflow sensor housing that holds the mass airflow sensor, once I took that out, it was caked in oil. I went out and got mass airflow sensor cleaner, and I cleaned it all up, and it's all nice and shiny in there. And come to find out that this housing was flipped backwards, because on here it says Bosch and the airflow is supposed to go that way, and that's where it's supposed to go. Apparently they had it backwards to where the mass airflow sensor is reading negative pressure, which is throwing the high circuit on the mass airflow sensor. So when that happens, that means the vehicle is going to sit there and restrict how much airflow goes into the engine, which would cut off the engine. So I got that all situated. Turns out there's too much oil in this thing, but I'm not gonna worry about that. Really don't want to just drain some oil out just to get it corrected. But it is this customer's vehicle. I'm not going to be touching it if they don't want me to touch it. because that's going to cost them more money out of their pocket. But this, I'm just going to do that for free. I don't care. So with all that being said, I am going to get my computer out, turn it on, all right, and grab the keys. And we're gonna go ahead and clear these codes. Oh, open up. Oh, find the location of it. There you go. Oh, put it to the on position. I heard the fuel pump turn off. Fuel pump has a lot of pressure in the lines now. Alright, auto scan. But this vehicle does have 167,719 miles on the odometer, which is great. So it's bound to have the fuel pump go out, which I don't know 100% when I looked underneath the vehicle if the fuel pump was replaced before, but it almost seems like it was a stock fuel pump that we had to replace. But when we took the old pump out, you can see that it was just gross looking. The fuel was actually really good, because when we did that Buick over there, I think it was a Buick, but when we were working on that other one, we had to replace the fuel pump in that one, and it was that vehicle was sitting for 5 to 6 years. And so when we took the fuel pump out, I looked inside the tank to see what kind of carnage was in there, and you could just smell straight up turpentine out of that tank. It was so horrible. We had to use my shop vac, vacuum out all that turpentine, and find a place to freaking dump it. But we got that tank actually cleaned out, got the new pump in, spliced some wires for the new harness, because apparently they don't make the fuel pump the same like everything else. Saying powertrain powertrain has one fault. Body control module is 75 fault. Like 75 codes for the body control module, which is kind of crazy, because I do have the printout over here, and it's saying, you know, there's data malfunction, lost communication to engine control module, restraints control system, ignition circuit malfunction, in park switch circuit, electric rear defrost circuit low, rear circuit high, you know, all sorts of different stuff. And one code that popped up was for the security. There you go. Security system indicates tamper. So someone tampered with the security system. But last test was passed. This ignition passed, and since cleared has passed. So yeah, it's got the B3033-01 code. It's saying ECU malfunction, last test was passed, this is ignition has passed, and since cleared has passed. So don't really know 100% what the heck is going on with this vehicle with the body control module. But if this vehicle does run and drive, you probably don't need to worry about it. But you can see that the powertrain is actually coming up with P0102-12, which is the mass airflow sensor circuit low voltage now. So we're going to go ahead and clear all the DTCs, since I did solve the issue with that that mass airflow sensor. So let's go ahead and start it up. Come on. Alright, now we gotta scan again. Automatic scan. No code. So what I'm gonna do is grab my jump box, See if it just needs more electricity in order for it to start. It needs more electrons. Open up. So let's see what we can do with getting this thing started. There we go. Yeah, give me more power. Ugh. So let's see if we can get it started now. Oh, what am I doing? All right. Check engine light just turned off. All right. Why are you binging? Well, let's look at powertrain. Let's go to live data. And there it goes. Live data. Let's go fuel emissions. Mass airflow. This thing was working. Are you gonna read? Now I gotta check engine light. Idling at 950. So now, why is my live data not working? Communication failed. Come on, let me read you. O2 sensors are doing their thing. That's good. That is perfect. Evap purge solenoid is working. The loop status is good. Open and close. That's functioning just like normal. Fuel level. It's not reading the engine speed, which is supposed to be 950 RPM, but it's saying negative 8,192 RPM, which is not right. Vehicle speed 0 kilometers per hour. It doesn't really matter. Engine load 32%. Voltage at 14.44 volts. So it is reading enough voltage from that alternator. So the alternator is doing its thing. It's charging. So that's great. So we don't have any problems with the vehicle. The APP sensor 1 and 2. One seems to be very high. The other one seems to be pretty much where it's supposed to be, I believe. Other than that, see, now it just read too high. Right when it shut off, it just jumped all the way to 0.27. Let's back out of this. Come on, I know communication is going to fail. But remember, 0.27. is reading 0.27. So when it's reading too much, just rev it up a bit. it's gonna say communication failed. But when I let go of the gas, it's getting close to 900 RPM. And there it goes. Live data. See, now it's just, every time I try looking at the data, now it should be reading more because I got the foot on the gas. No change. Record. Chart. Graph. It's reading high. It's reading too high. Now it's saying circuit low. Ignition, illegal setting on this thing. So I need a mass airflow sensor. Last test failed. Since cleared past. Clear DTCs. Yes. Check engine light is gonna go away. Reading codes. Communication failed. So engine clear, yes. No codes found. See, now I'm having problems. So I think we have a faulty mass airflow sensor. So more than likely I'm gonna be shopping around and trying to find a mass airflow sensor for me to change out in this thing, because right now last test failed, since cleared past. It passed when it cleared, and this last test it failed, illegal setting. So it's saying low voltage. First it was high voltage, now it's low voltage. So the only thing that I can think of right now is changing out that mass airflow sensor, get this vehicle back in operating order, and we should be fine with this vehicle. So we'll be back here in a second with the new mass airflow sensor and see if we could get this thing back up on the road with no problems whatsoever, because if I let go of the gas, engine's gonna die. So there's nothing I can do about that at this very moment. Ugh. Ow, my leg. Ugh. But nothing I could do about that. So what I'm gonna be doing is changing that mass airflow sensor and hope that that's the problem. Now I know this thing ain't put in incorrectly because this tab is supposed to be facing on the top, and the other side right here you can't basically turn it around or anything like that, because the way the way the plug is supposed to go into the mass airflow sensor, there's like a certain way to do it. So that's the correct way to put the mass airflow sensor in. So now I'm reading voltage low instead of voltage high. So yeah, that's kind of fun right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and shop around, find a mass airflow sensor, hopefully get a good deal on one, and get this vehicle back up on the road. This customer will be happy if I can get this back up on the road and be able to drive it, no problems whatsoever. So first problem done, second problem done, third problem maybe. Man. But I love my job so much. I love it so much, I'll sit there and fix one problem after the other. Probably fix 13 other problems. So yeah, we'll be back here in a second, guys. Let me go get this mass airflow sensor. Alright guys, so it is the moment of truth. Fix this light right here. Taking a look at my lights on Black Betty here, making sure that everything looks good. I need to add or change out the tape and everything, because every once in a while the tape on the Christmas lights on here, it'll come off just like that and everything, and it's not even sticky anymore. So need to add some tape on this, replace the tape. This thing needs to be washed. But we are back to that 2005 Saturn L300. I need to do a full-on inspection with this truck. Turn that off. I know there's some things going on with this truck again. Found out that it's not drinking water, it's actually leaking water. Get this thing backed up to the trailer. There you go. It's not even lined up to the trailer. As you can see, it's not even lined up right. I'm not worried about it. I'm not towing any vehicles today. I'm just trying to get this one vehicle repaired and released. So I got the key here, and I do have, come on now, I do have the mass airflow sensor for this Saturn L300. So let's go ahead and get this into the shop area. Make my way around the Cutlass, around the Kia service truck that is not working. Get right over here, and hopefully I could drive it just like normal without it cutting off. But we'll see. All right. Please crank. As I suspected. The battery is completely shot. By the way, happy Thanksgiving for all those that watch my videos. Oh, he's listening to some good music too. So Sick by Neo is a good song. It's the holiday season. I don't care. I really don't care if delivery drivers are blasting music and everything, as long as it's like, you know, rated PG-13 kind of stuff, like something that is worth listening to. I really don't like that gangster stuff, because what's the point of that gangster stuff? Because everybody else is sitting there going, yeah, I totally relate to it. It's like, you haven't even lived it. So and some of these rappers out there, they sit there and rap things that they don't particularly, no, stop, and you can hang out there. But yeah, these rappers out there, they sit there and rap things that they say they lived with but haven't really lived with. Because I know some people that rap and they sit there and make up stories. They sit there and try making a story, but they're not making a story. There you go. Now stay on. Grab the keys again. Now let me see if I can get it started. Come on. What is up with this? Alright, now the key. Oh, no wonder. I'm using the wrong keys. I'm going insane. Alright. Now I got her started. Alright. So let's go ahead and nose this vehicle in. Here, I'll just leave it on top of the cutlass. Let's get this thing repaired and get this thing delivered back to the customer. Oh. Or not. Well, this is cool. Let's see if we can keep this thing running long enough. Alright, so we're gonna do this. Come on. Get on there. I really don't like these side post batteries. They're stupid. Really, really stupid. Now this battery does need to be replaced. I told the customer about it too. I'm waiting to hear back if she wants the battery to be changed out. Stay like that. Just like that. Roll down the window. It's a little bit chilly out today. See if we could do 2-foot pedal situation here. He goes, once I get it nosed in. Well, she's running. Put it in reverse. All right, she's running and driving. No 2-foot action. Cool. All right, let's cut her off. Let's see what is going on. Who's calling me? All right, so we got this going. All right, so I'm gonna disconnect this. I need to put this on the charger. It's already about 50%. I don't know what's coming in the mail. And it's trash. All right, so we are on to replacing the mass airflow sensor, which I already verified with my visual of it. Looks exactly the same size, everything, all good, cool. So let me go ahead and grab my handy dandy little screwdriver. Some people sit there and say, oh, you need to use the socket for it, or some other stuff, you know, like they sit there and bash, like some people sit there and say you should use a socket, the 7mm socket, to remove these little clamps here, which is like, it doesn't really matter as long as you can get the job done, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this hose off from the intake. Come on, get off there. Actually, I don't think I need to loosen that. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna tighten this back up. Come on. Get on there. There you go. My hands are getting frozen, so it is a very cold one today. That wind chill actually came through, so it was like 29 degrees out here. I know some people are from up north and sit there and be like, oh, 29 degrees outside, that ain't anything. And it's like, look, you know, we're in the south. We don't get a whole lot of cold weather. But this is the mass airflow sensor. It's got a little screen here. The screen is supposed to be right here. Airflow is supposed to go through, and this little sensor here is supposed to read how much air is going through. Now, with this airflow sensor, it's got this little filament here to measure the airflow. If that sensor is bad, it's not going to read what it should read. Either it got caked on, or the little filament in there is completely bad. So we're gonna be replacing that with the new one, which is a different setup actually. And if I look, yeah, it's a different setup, but way better design. So we're gonna use the new one. We're gonna feed this back on one way or the other. I know I haven't been doing a whole lot of roadside assistance. I've been trying to repair vehicles more than roadside assistance nowadays. So come on. Alright, I need you out of my way. I need this hose out of my way. Alright. Give it to me! Thank you. There you go. Get on there. It's supposed to go on the way I want it to go on. Now you see this little arrow here. It's supposed to point where the airflow direction is supposed to go. Get out of my way, wire. And this thing just does not want to cooperate. You know what? I got an idea. It doesn't hurt anything, but just a little bit of this. A little bit of lubricant on that side. Let's see. Make it easy for it to go on. Sometimes it does that. Like, you'll need lubricant to actually get it on certain pieces Now, dielectric grease is a great lubricant to actually fit these things in place when you need it. Come on. Alright, I need that thing out of my way. I really do. Because all I need is this thing replaced. And you're in my way. Why don't you want to fit? Ah, you gotta be kidding me. And that's loose. As loose as I can get it. Almost. There you go. That's what I wanted. Alright, now I can fit this back in. I know this will fit right on. One way or the other. There you go. Almost on there. Ugh. Yeah, it's just getting caught up. Yeah, this thing's like a bigger tube than the factory one, which is why this part is a special order. Come on. Dang it, I really didn't want to do that. But it'll be alright. There you go. Now it's on there. Now I gotta get this thing back in place. I know everybody's screaming right now. Oh, you should use a socket. It makes it much easier. It's much faster. It doesn't matter as long as it gets the job done. All right. Feed it around. All right, I'm gonna have to take the clamp off. I completely messed everything up. I probably don't need to take the clamp off. Just loosen it wide enough so it'll fit right over. There we go. Perfect. Let me go ahead and tighten this one up while I'm here. Come on. Tight. We'll clear the codes real quick. We'll see what the mass airflow sensor actually says too. Because when we ran the codes, you saw earlier, or at least the diagnostics, the stuff with the mass airflow sensor, it was reading kind of weird. clean this off. And then put this back kind of here. Throw that away. Grab my computer. Boot it up. Go ahead and clear that code before we start it back up. Yep, snapped right in place. Cool. Throw that out later. Throw that out later. And so we'll test this thing out. Alright, still booting up. Right there. Grab this. Oh. Let's go ahead and boot this thing up. That's not gonna work. You know why? Because the battery is bad. It's a nearly blown up battery. To tell a battery is bad is whenever you feel the sides of the battery, and if it's blowed out, like you can feel it rounded out, the battery is completely blown out. So it needs to be changed out. I already let the customer know, and she's thinking about getting it changed out. But she said that she wants to verify that the vehicle does run and drive, does not stall, stay on there. It's charging 10.9 volts. So you can see right here, if I can look, it says 10.9 volts. It's charging right now at 2.5 amps. And so we'll just wait for it to start charging up. So I'm on repair. That means I could start the vehicle, or at least put it on the on position. Or not. .6 volts. There you go. Just trying to do pulsating boost to it. That's what I want. That's what I want. Because I'm in the shop area and everything, the lights are gonna turn on. So we're gonna clear the codes. And after we clear the codes, we're gonna monitor that mass airflow sensor, see if it's reading correctly. And if everything is good. Now bear in mind, this vehicle has 167,719 miles on the odometer. Hi. Communicating. And we're gonna get this vehicle up on the road and see how everything goes. See, this is the fun part of my job. Communicating. Now it's saying 2 faults. I know the body control module is kind of messed up. So it needs a new body control module. That's for sure. Come on. No, not that. Theft deterrent fuel disable signal received. That is strange. Well, let's clear those. That is not cool. Minimum throttle position not learned. So we're gonna program the throttle position sensor. Let's see, where is it? Throttle for American Saturn. Alright, something's going on with this dang vehicle. So, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and... This thing is just blinking. Is it that bad? I think so. But yeah, we're gonna sit there and figure out exactly what's going on with this. I got the clearance code, clears code. Code's cleared. Like you see, it's like kind of dimming and coming back up. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with this. I think this battery is completely bad to where I can't even start it. But we'll be right back here in a second. I'm gonna try getting this thing to start up, and we'll be back for that test drive. Alright, so right now the battery charger is saying that it's got 15 volts at 5.6 amps. So we're gonna go ahead and try cranking her up, see if we can get her to stay alive. Nope. Let's go ahead and jump her off. This battery is so far gone, that is just ridiculous, because now it's saying 11.3 volts. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the battery charger, put my jump box to it, even though the jump box is almost dead. And I like these little jump boxes because they actually do justice. If I need to, I'll grab the other one. Get this dang thing started. There you go. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Alright, automatic scan. Get my jump box off. Let the vehicle charge up. Why did I do that? Let's go ahead and plug this thing up. This thing's almost dead. I need to straighten my truck up too. But she is running smoother than it was before. Checking. Let's get this thing up to speed. L300, okay. Where do I, up? Oh, that's different. Recline, aha. Automatic scan. Let's do it. 2 faults on powertrain. I know body control module is going to come up with 75 codes. And what are the 2 codes? Throttle position not learned. Trying to clear codes. Let's see if we can learn the throttle now. Oops. Throttle of the Saturn. Automatic detection is reading at 14.4 volts on the alternator, so the alternator's good. But the vehicle's not cutting off on me. That's great. Brakes feel good. Oh man, this is gonna be... I hope I can relearn this throttle. See, it's saying not supported. Why is it not supported? I can't program it? Anyways, let's go auto scan. Let's read the mass airflow sensor. Since this vehicle is actually running and it's not dying on us like it did before. This is aggravating. Ugh. But let me close this hood. I'm gonna check everything on here. And I did put some crash wrap, or not crash wrap, but little press and seal wrap on here because this vehicle has a broken window. Trying to keep the critters and water from going in it. But the vehicle is running, headlights are working, turn signal lights work. It's great. But give me a second and we'll go ahead and take it for a little test drive. Alright, this is exactly what I was talking about with the mass airflow sensor. That's number one. Now it's reading that is working. So with it reading that, if I press the gas, it increases the airflow. So that's what the vehicle needs to read whenever driving around. So now I should be able to take this for a quick little test drive and see that everything is good with it. Let's go ahead and take my diagnostic tool out of here and get this thing on my hat if I can. Let's turn this thing off. Take it for a quick little test drive. See how everything goes with it. And then we can load it up on the trailer, take it to the customer, and the customer is going to be happy. Since this vehicle has not shut off on me so far. Seatbelt, safety clip, boom. See, now it's acting normal. Is there any way? Oh, well, that works. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and back this thing out real quick. No check engine light. Roll the window up. It is cold out there. Let's see if the heat works. Air on. Oh yeah, the heat works. So yeah, this vehicle has been sitting for a couple months or a few months. But now I changed the fuel pump in it. I changed the throttle or the crankshaft position sensor and the mass airflow sensor. It's hesitating. Oh, well, there goes that little flap thing. That's not good. Definitely not good. Alright, what's going on? What went on? What's smoking? I want to stop here for a second and let you guys basically know exactly what's going on with this vehicle, because this vehicle has been sitting for a few months. So after replacing the fuel pump and replacing the other components of this vehicle so the vehicle can run and drive, it's actually running all that bad fuel that's currently in the fuel lines. So yes, it was hesitating and smoking like crazy, which I took the vehicle out for
a few test drives, probably about 4 or 5 test drives, to verify that nothing else is wrong with the vehicle, and now that vehicle does not pour out white smoke. So that is the background story of that. So please do not judge that there's more issues with the vehicle and the vehicle is deemed as a total loss, but it is not a total loss. It just needed to run that old fuel out before getting it back up on the road. So yes, I brought it back to the shop and I let it run for a while, and I did take it for a few more test drives before verifying that all the old fuel has burned out. I ran some fuel cleaner into it as well to make sure that all the lines are cleaned out and the injectors are cleaned out, and the vehicle is actually in operating order and has been returned back to the customer, and the customer is very satisfied with the repairs of the vehicle. She is going to get a new battery for this vehicle, so do not try saying that I did not do a good job of the vehicle when the vehicle is actually running good and driving just fine.
That is not good. Well, this thing came off, so not worried about it now. Let's circle this thing back around. It's running, it's driving, but it's smoking like crazy. And it's hesitating. Something is wrong. Something is really wrong. Something is really wrong. If it's smoking like that, that's very bad. So we'll figure it out. I mean, it's hesitating while driving, but let's try getting it to the shop. I'm gonna wait for this traffic to come by and then I'll make my way back to the shop. But at least she's running and driving, but we don't know exactly what's going on with her anymore. So we'll see you guys on the next one. I'm gonna try figuring out what's going on with this vehicle. Maybe because it's been sitting for such a long time that it needs time to rethink. I don't know. But I think this is the most I could get out of this car. But it is smoking up a storm now. Well, now it's not smoking up a storm. So maybe it might be something that was causing that problem. I don't know, because it's smoking up a storm and hesitating. But I'm gonna get with my buddy Rashad, have him come over here, see what he thinks, because this is questionable. Like, why would it sit there and start smoking like that? And it's still smoking, and I can't get out. Ugh. Because now it's still smoking. Maybe I'll just let it run for a little bit. Maybe it'll clear up. I don't know. Oh man, I was just about to get rid of this car. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Say goodbye to this Saturn L300. And as always, y'all have a great day and God bless.